It's the world's most chilling and horrible poetry. I mean, this has been the project of the American right wing since the great social movements and political and legal shifts of the mid-20th century has been to reverse all that progress. The road to making abortion everything but technically illegal is open, and we're traveling down it already. So the major legal victories of the mid-20th century, this has been the project of the Republicans. And yes, there is a horrifying poetry that this is happening. This moment should not be a moment at which anybody thinks, okay, it's over. And
yes.
That is an instinct, right? That's an instinct. I have had it within the past hour.
The ultra-left MSNBC is suffering a total and complete meltdown. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest example of grief-stricken leftists over the inevitable loss of the Supreme Court, how they're doing everything they possibly can to try to convince Republicans to please wait until after the election to fill Ginsburg's seat, and how more and more leftists are realizing that it's all for naught, and that a new, solid, conservative majority is the undeniable future of the Supreme Court. You are not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone, patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you as always. If this is your first time here with us and you're looking for some daily encouragement and optimism as well as analysis to help you make sense of these crazy times we're in, you have found your oasis in this channel. We post 2 videos a day, analyzing current events, analyze some super awesome conservative trends so we can all live in the present in line of even better things to come. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. It'd be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular part of this channel where each and every day we together celebrate the inevitable collapse of left-wing globalism and the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. Oh, those liberal tears. But first, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsors of this video, and that's the makers of this beautiful 2020 Christ the Last Supper coin. Now, you're not going to believe this. This limited edition, highly sought after coin is actually being given away completely for free until they run out. So this is the perfect gift for yourself or for a friend, family member that loves collecting coins. So on the front side, there's this beautiful etched out illustration of Christ. And on the reverse side, it's a perfectly etched illustration of the Last Supper. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, like I said, for a limited time, the Last Supper coins are free, so they're going to go fast. So you need to click on that link below before they sell out or before they're all out, right? Once they run out, that is it. You won't have another opportunity like this again. So do not wait. Make sure to click on that link below or visit their website at sendmejesus.com and include this little blessing in your life today. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. I mean, there's really no other way of saying it. The death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is resulting in a total media meltdown. All right, the left-wing activists disguised as journalists are having a collective temper tantrum, and no one exemplified that more than the New York Magazine writer Rebecca Traister. She was a guest on the Chris Hayes show on MSNBC that nobody watches to discuss the breaking news of the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And not only did she begin to cry on air, I mean, she just broke down talking about how powerless leftists feel and continue to feel as they realize their beloved liberal Supreme Court is about to change hands to a solidly conservative majority. Not only did she melt down in tears, but after Hayes momentarily actually broke away from the interview to announce that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell had officially announced that the Senate would indeed vote to fill Ginsburg's seat before the election, which, by the way, the majority of people want. We'll get into that in a moment. But after Hayes made the announcement, he turns back to Traister, and as he comes back to her, you can see her just swigging a glass of wine like she was in total resignation. It's absolutely hilarious, right? She's there. She's all like beforehand. She's like tearfully exhorting her fellow leftists. We can't give up. We got to fight. We got to rise to the occasion, push back against this right-wing juggernaut. And then the host announces that the Senate Majority Leader is indeed going to replace Ginsburg with a conservative before the election. And in just seconds, this cheerleader, this rabble-rouser for the left, who but seconds ago was exhorting all her fellow lefties to rise up and take on the right, she's just reduced to drinking. I mean, her face looks completely defeated. It's just, I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. It's such a perfect picture of what's really happening in our nation's capital as we speak. Time to fight. Who's with me? Let's take them on. Braveheart. We just heard that there's nothing we can do. McConnell's gonna fill the seat before the election. Oh, all right. Well, then who wants to drink? So much for fighting back. Now, as far as the polls are concerned, Americans are overwhelmingly in favor of the president filling the Supreme Court vacancy before the election. Now, the media does not want you to know that. They're relying on Reuters, which is nothing more than a shill for all things left-wing, to conduct a bunch of cheap and quick snap polls to simply reflect what the mainstream Marxist media already thinks. So you're going to get headlines like this one. Majority of Americans, including many Republicans, say wait for election to replace Ginsburg. And then what we're told is that 62% of American adults, right, they actually use that term, American adults, whatever that means, whether they vote or not, I don't know. 62% want Trump and the Republicans to wait. And then check this out. Reuters goes on to say that 80% of Democrats and 50% of Republicans agree that a new appointment should wait until after the election. Now, I want to show you how the mainstream Marxist media works to basically lie to us about the nature of reality in terms of polling, in terms of how they use or better abuse the polls. But first, we are in an election year. And of all of our presidential elections, few were as stunning as the election of Donald Trump 4 years ago. But how could so many of our elites, from the mainstream media to political pundits, how could so many have been so wrong in 2016, still not get it in 2020? Well, that's what my book, President Trump and Our Post-Secular Future, is all about. In its pages, you're going to discover precisely what our political class missed and continue to miss, that the election of Donald Trump was nothing less than a symbol of the end of secular globalism as our dominant political paradigm. And so throughout this book, you're going to discover various ways in which Trump's nationalist populism is redefining politics for the foreseeable future. And to make this even better, you ready for this? For a limited time, you can get my book, President Trump and Our Post-Secular Future, absolutely free as an ebook download by simply clicking on the link below in the pinned comment section. That's right, absolutely free. We're giving away a lot of free stuff today, right? But it's a limited time offer, so do not wait. Click on that link in the pinned comment section and get your free copy of my book, President Trump and Our Post-Secular Future, today. All right, take a look at this. A Marquette University Law School poll found the exact opposite of what Reuters found. They found that 67% of respondents, it's nearly 70%, believe that a confirmation of a new Supreme Court justice should proceed in 2020. Only 32% were opposed to that. Now, interestingly, why are we seeing such a discrepant result here? Well, interestingly, this Marquette poll was actually conducted before Ginsburg's death. It was a survey conducted between September 8th to September 15th. And it wasn't partisan, right? The results, that is. The survey interestingly found that 68% of Republicans and 63% of Democrats thought that a nomination in the Supreme Court should move forward in 2020 should a seat vacancy open up. Now, the results of this survey are actually further corroborated by a previous survey back in 2016. Which found that large majorities of Americans also want to see the Senate consider Barack Obama's then nomination, Merrick Garland, to replace the late, great Antonin Scalia. Garland, of course, was ignored by the Republican-controlled Senate until after the election, which Trump went on to win and then put forward Neil Gorsuch as his own nominee. But you see, back then in 2016, Barack Obama and his nominee, Merrick Garland, they shared the same ideological commitments as the mainstream Marxist media. So that means that you and I were treated to headlines such as this from left-wing outlets like American Progress. New poll shows Americans overwhelmingly support a hearing and vote on Merrick Garland's nomination. Now, isn't that interesting? 69% of those surveyed back then wanted the Senate to hold hearings and vote on Obama's Supreme Court nominee. Isn't that interesting? Election year and all that. But today, no. The vast majority of American people want President Trump and the Republicans, they want him to wait. They got to wait until after the election. That's funny because up until now, it seems that every time we got a Supreme Court vacancy during an election year, the American public have been overwhelmingly on the side of filling the seat. Isn't that interesting? Oh, I get it. That's only when Obama was president. Ah, I see. That's how it works. Reuters and the mainstream media really just have egg all over their face in this. In fact, go back to your own Google search on how the mainstream media shilled for Merrick Garland and how they're pulling now a total 180 here with Trump's potential nominees. It's beyond pathetic. So the results of the Marquette survey, which finds overwhelming support for Trump to fill the seat, has a clear precedent. They mirror the sentiments that we saw the last time a Supreme Court seat was vacated during an election year. And so with that corroboration, I trust the Marquette poll far more than the quick, cheap, partisan snap poll that Reuters put together at the last minute. And for no other reason, literally no other reason than merely echo the sentiments of the left-wing mainstream media echo chamber, the mainstream Marxist media, because the whole purpose of the mainstream media today is to paint the world as this grand globalist utopia. Right? That's reality for them. Reality is one big, happy, liberal family of nations where borders don't matter, manufacturing and industry don't matter, except when it comes to shipping jobs off to places like China. And our culture, customs, and traditions not only don't matter, but they're to be vilified and hated and disdained and rejected as bigoted and racist and discriminatory. Moreover, we certainly have polls that completely contradict this absurd notion that 50% of Republicans believe the GOP should not replace Ginsburg before the election. Do you even remotely believe that? Does that reflect your set? Do 50% of you believe that? Right? We have several 100,000 conservatives watching this channel. How many of you believe Trump should defer to after the election to fill Ginsburg's seat? I mean, just prima facie, right? At first glance, this poll is absurd. The notion that 50% of Republicans want to pass up a chance at taking control of the Supreme Court for the next generation is plausible only in liberal la-la land. And we've got more accurate polls to prove it. Rasmussen, one of the more accurate polling firms. Remember, Rasmussen only surveys likely voters, not registered voters. Half of registered voters don't even vote. Not American adults, whatever Reuters reference to that meant. Look at this. This is right from Rasmussen out today or the other day. Survey of over 1,000 likely voters. 83% of GOP voters want Trump to fill Ginsburg's seat. 83%. And the left-wing activists disguised as journalists are trying to tell us that many, that's the term they use. No. Many Republicans want Trump to wait. I don't know what Republicans they found, but I can assure you Rasmussen's polling is far more accurate than Reuters, just from what I'm seeing, right? Just anecdotally, I have yet to meet a single Republican who said, yeah, no, we really ought to wait. Nonsense, man. Winning. The fact is simple. The Democrats are realizing that they've lost the Supreme Court. They're increasingly realizing that the Supreme Court, which was once their primary weapon for shoving their left-wing liberal nonsense down the throats of every American citizen in this nation, that weapon is gone. And it gets even worse. As the drinking guest on MSNBC pointed out, now it's the right's turn to own the court with a supermajority for the next generation. The worst nightmares of liberals is actually being realized right before their very eyes. The days of left-wing liberalism enforced through our court system are indeed coming to a decisive end. Now, before you go, make sure you like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you will definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how a new probe into Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs is causing panic among the who's who of the rich and famous. You are not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.